All right, Robby Mook, former campaign manager for Hillary Clinton, joins us live from our nation's capital. Robby, thanks for stopping by Fox and Friends. Why didn't you guys ever stop during the campaign on this program?
I'm sorry, why didn't people appear on the program?
Yeah, from the campaign. We invited you, we invited Nick, Merrill, we invited Mrs. Clinton. Nobody ever came.
Well, I'm happy to be here this morning. You know, the election's over. It was a tough fight, and I'm happy to be here with you this morning.
You know what? Maybe she would have won if she would have showed up on the show.
Well, hey, let's talk about what's going on right now with the Russia investigation that's been going on. I want you to take a look at Hillary Clinton's tweet back in 2016. And, of course, I wasn't really cognizant of then. There was so much going on. But as President Trump looks out and tries to find out, was his wiretap, was he being surveilled, keep in mind, Hillary Clinton said this in 2016 in a tweet. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. Does that show there's been some surveillance there and somehow the intelligence got to you guys?
Well, I think it's important to step back, first of all, and remember the facts here. The facts are that Trump aides were caught talking to Russian agents, and those conversations were captured because the intelligence community regularly taps the phone lines of those Russian agents. So I think it's important to start
wait a minute.
there.
You say there was a wiretap? You say there was a wiretap?
That there was a wiretap of Russian agents, and that those Russian agents were communicating with Trump staff. That's why they were picked up.
How do you know that?
Intelligence community. That's what the intelligence community has told us. That's what's been reported very widely. Those are the facts. So were there wiretaps of Russian agents? Absolutely. The question is, why in the world were Trump aides talking to Russian agents so much? The Attorney General still hasn't come forward. We know he lied to the Senate committee. He perjured himself. He has not come forward to fully explain why
Robby,
he was meeting.
Do we know the nature of the conversations? Do we know what they were talking about?
No, and that's what we really need to find out. We need to get to the bottom of exactly what was going on. Why were so many conversations happening in the first place? The whole situation is very bizarre, that American campaign operatives would be going back and forth so much with not just the Russian ambassador, but apparently other Russian agents as well. And it's not just phone conversations. We're now learning it's also in-person meetings. And that's why what a lot of us have been calling for is an independent, bipartisan committee to get to the bottom of this, because this is a bipartisan issue. This isn't Democrats and Republicans. They came after the Democrats this time. They're going to come after the Republicans in the future.
Don't you think, Robby, it's important for somebody in intelligence to come clean on this? For example, we were not surveilling Trump Tower, okay? We had nothing to do with that. Then it turns out, there are multiple reports of the unnamed sources, the same one that seemed to be cutting and pasting into the New York Times these days, that said they were actually doing that the entire time. And then rumored to be James Comey is upset that he didn't do that and he wants the record straightened out. But then it turns out other past reports says they were doing that through their counterintelligence arm. So doesn't that bother you that no one could be truthful about what was actually happening?
Well, again, I think we need to go back to the facts. What we know is that Russians were being monitored. And
no, we don't know that. We don't know if the order was...
According to leaks.
According to leaks. We don't know. I mean, we're just going by what other people said that other people told them.
Well, and I think you're reinforcing my point. We need an independent, open investigation into this. We need to get all the facts out there for the American people to see. You guys are interested. I'm interested. There are a lot of people out there that want to get to the bottom of this. But I want to just underscore again, the whole reason we're having this conversation is because the Trump campaign was talking to the Russians a lot. That's how this got picked up. We need to understand why that was happening. And to your point, what those conversations were.
The timing is very interesting because you tried to get with the Pfizer report in the summer. That didn't work out. So then in the fall, right when Hillary Clinton's numbers were going down, when it looked like she might not win this election, then there's another request to wiretap, allegedly, according to these reports. What did Hillary Clinton know, and what was her involvement?
Well, Hillary Clinton didn't know about any of this. I mean, let's be very clear.
Then how do you explain this tweet? Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank.
Well, I think you should ask your research department to go back and look. That was actually in response to reporting that was done by Slate magazine. So she was reacting to what reporters were saying, just like we're now reacting to what reporters are saying. I think that cyber link that got reported, that tweet was in reaction to, should be investigated too. I think it is weird that there was some sort of cyber link with Trump Tower, but we need to get the facts.
Robby, we would all love to get the facts, but what is happening, and you know this is how the press works, perhaps somebody in the intel community leaked some information of a very narrow nature to discredit Donald Trump, rather than say everything. You know, a member of the Trump campaign talked to somebody in Russia, and they were simply asking about blah. It could have been something innocuous, but all we know is they talked to Russians, right? So clearly, it looks like a concerted effort, a narrative to make it look like the Trump people talked to Russians, and the reason that Trump won was because the Russians hacked the election, and that's why Mrs. Clinton lost.
Well, I don't think we need to relitigate the election. Donald Trump won, and he is president of the United States. That is settled. That is not up for debate.
Without the help of the Russians.
It's clear, we know for a fact that the Russians stole files from the DNC and released them strategically to help Donald Trump. 17 intelligence agencies have said that. That's a fact. It doesn't matter whether it affected the outcome of the election or not.
But the information exposed was facts. Those were facts. I mean, Hillary Clinton has no one to blame but herself for that.
Sure, and the Russians, I think, in a future election are going to break into the RNC or break into some Republican candidates, steal information from them, and put it out there to hurt them as well. I think we'll all agree
the way it happened was wrong. Absolutely.
Look, it was illegal. It wasn't just wrong. It was a crime. And the question is, was anybody aiding and abetting? Or did people know about it and they never threw up a flag? That's all we need to understand here. And that's why we're just asking, let's have an investigation to get the facts. You know, again, I don't want to make this partisan because this is an issue that affects Democrats and Republicans.
Sure.
But let's just leave it to say, on other issues, we saw that Jason Chaffetz and others in Congress were happy to have big, wide open public investigations. For some reason with this, they're not in the Congress, and they're not willing to do that in this case.
But I think they are. We had Jason Chaffetz on yesterday, and we had Senator Cotton on Sunday on Chris Wallace's show, and he says they're going to go where the facts lead them. Senator Graham is going to be having lunch with President Trump today. He's going to do the same thing. I watched his town hall on Saturday in South Carolina, so I think it's happening.
Well, I hope it does. And look, we still haven't seen the Attorney General go up and explain why he perjured himself, explain what those meetings were that he had with the Russian ambassador.
I know you believe that, but he does not believe it, and he explained it out yesterday.
Well, that's why I think we need to get him in back under oath to explain everything. Let's get the facts.
All right.
It's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for joining us, Robby.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
I would love to.
Thanks.